What is up, YouTube? This is Hypergon, your chap with the cat, back again for another video. Now, as I'm sure you noticed, my background's a little bit different, and there may be some new background noises. As I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I was dealing with a lot of personal issues, and now I'm finally done with them. Those personal issues? My old roommates. Biggest assholes I've ever had to deal with in my life. But, finally moved out. I'm currently living with my grandmother and her very shaggy dog, but still an improvement, so I'll finally be able to get back to regular uploads again. A lot more relaxed, de-stressed, and better lighting, honestly, so can't argue with that. But enough of that. You didn't come here to listen to me and my personal problems. You came here for some Yu-Gi-Oh content. That is what I'm here to deliver. I've decided to start things off this time with a top 5 countdown. A rather unique one, I must say. This time I'm actually going to be counting down my top 5 personal archetypes that I would like to see become real. Now, I'm specifically taking archetypes that appeared in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime that were really cool, but for some reason or another never got a full release in the actual card game. They may have gotten a few cards released, or they may have not gotten any at all, and I feel like those cards would be a massive, that there are massive ways to potential to not be in the game. I mean, they're cool archetypes. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Top 5 archetypes that need to be made real from the anime. Let's get started. So, starting off this list, we have the Orichalcos. This was a archetype that originally debuted in the Season 4 Waking the Dragons of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. And now I know what some of you guys are saying, but hold on, we did get that. We have the Seal of Orichalcos, and we have Orichalcos Shuneros. Well, yeah, but that's 2 cards. You're really going to make a deck out of 2 cards? Plus, with the way the Seal of Orichalcos works, it doesn't make any sense to run any more than 1, and Shuneros, if we're being completely honest with each other, is garbage. So, really, we don't have an Orichalcos archetype. We have an Orichalcos card, and that's about all we can really use. Shuneros is not that great, as much as I hate to admit it. So, what I think that they need to do with this is they need to expand on a lot of the monsters, you know. Darts had plenty of other monsters. I'm not saying we need a lot of the big ones, like, we don't need Divine Serpent, that was excessive. But if we could get, like, that little guy that can, like, negate damage, you can just have it so that he does that once per turn, and then he can, when he's destroyed, he can special summon Shuneros, which, honestly, who cares? It's Shuneros. We can have that other one that gains attack whenever it comes back. There were plenty of things, but I think the main thing that needs to happen is that we need the other layers of the Orichalcos. That would actually incentivize people to run the seal, because, I mean, they wouldn't have to be field spells either. They could probably just be, like, continuous spells. It could probably be in the way that, like, for the second layer, you can only play it while you have an active Seal of Orichalcos on the field, and for the third layer, you can only play it when you have a face-up second layer on the field. And I feel like that would be kind of good. You know, it would incentivize people to actually use the Orichalcos archetype, and if we get some cool monsters for it, then that would be great. I mean, I'm sorry, I thought the Orichalcos is amazing, and the first layer of the seal and Shuneros is not doing it for me. Come on, guys, keep up. Number 4. Seems like we're going in 4s today, because my number 4 pick is also from the 4th season. However, in this case, it's from the 4th season of GX, the Clear archetype. Now, this was used by the secondary antagonist, not the Darkness Death God guy, but the other one, whose name eludes me right now. I probably should have looked that up before I did this, but oh well. He had this archetype known as the Clear archetype, and so far, again, we have 2 cards for it. The field spell and the big monster. I don't know why they keep doing that to us. Come on, guys. Keep up, Konami, keep up. But the way that the Clear monsters were is that they're evolved around using the Clear World field spell, which gave some form of a hindrance to the player for whatever monster they controlled based on their attribute. I believe dark monsters, if they controlled 2 or more, or they couldn't attack. Wind monsters, I think, need to destroy it or discard. They needed to discard a card before they could activate a spell card. Fire, you just took damage, etc., etc. Things like that. And the clear monsters were immune to that. So despite the fact that they did have attributes, they were immune to the effects of Clear World. Now, would this be an amazing archetype to use? No, it really wouldn't. It would just be one of those gimmicky decks, but I think it would be kind of cool. I mean, really the only way you can use Clear World now is to find a way to use around an archetype that the benefit will help you, or it won't hurt you as badly. That's pretty much all you can hope for with this. It's really not that great of a card, and Clear Vice Dragon, while a cool monster, again, just isn't enough to validate using it, because you kind of have to use it with Clear World, and Clear World itself, you don't have much incentive to play. Now, there were other monsters that he used, I believe 2 others who had some interesting enough effects. Again, I haven't seen this in a while. I do remember that they were a cool archetype, and that I think that they should definitely have a little bit more representation in the actual, real world game. So, I don't know. I think Clear would just be kind of a cool thing to go with. Anyway, number 3. Konami, guys, you gotta stop doing this to us. Stop making these cool archetypes and only giving us 2. That is not okay. My number 3 pick is the Time Lords from the final battle second final battle technically, in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. This was against Yusei and Yusei, if you will. It was some weird future copy thing. I don't know, watch the series. This was only seen in the sub, since the dub cut off before this point, but it was still a really cool duel. A bit of wasted potential if you ask me, but that's another rant for another day. In this case, the deck that future copy Yusei was using was called Time Lords. And the way that they worked was that whenever they summoned, they had this effect that would go off. They all had no attack except for one of them, which had 4,000 attack. We do have that one, and one of the zeros. However, there were like 12 of these things, and only 2 of them got released, and they weren't even really the good ones. Now, I will admit, this was an hilariously broken archetype. It would probably have been meta for a long, long time. Debatably still could have been meta. Because the way that they worked is that if you controlled no monsters, you could special summon them, and then they got out their effects whenever they attacked, but you took no damage ever. And then they shuffled back into the deck. So you would always have a way to summon them. I believe they shuffled in like during your opponent's end phase or something like that, just to kind of give you the freedom of that. And then there was some really busted field continuous spells that also made it so you could summon multiples of these things at a time. It was a ridiculous deck premise, but a hilarious one all the same. And one I feel could have at least been exploited to a little bit. Now, should they have made them as broken as they were in the anime? Hell no. That would have been stupid. I mean, I looked at those things like, okay, I gotta see if I can get these cards, make a deck out of them. Then I found out there's only 2 of them. It's like, well, there goes that idea. But it probably would have been a bit much. However, I think if we dumb them down, we can still have the Time Lords as a really cool, really fun potential deck idea. That's all I got for that one. Let's move on to number 2. Now, for these last 2, there actually are no existing versions of these cards. And to start off this part of the list, we're going to be going with something I feel would be tricky to work around, but potentially a really fun deck idea. Speed World from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. The entirety of it. Now, for those of you who never saw 5Ds because you thought it was stupid because motorcycles, again, another rant for another day, when they were actually dueling on the motorcycles, they always had this one field spell in play known as Speed World. Speed World 2 in the second season. And what it did was it let them build up speed counters so they could use certain speed spells. When they were dueling on the motorcycles, they weren't allowed to use regular spell cards at all. No MST, no Monster Reborn, none of that. They had to use speed spells, which could only be used when Speed World is in play. Since they always did it, it was never really an issue. However, think about this. What if we were to have a Speed World field spell and the associated speed spells? Now, obviously, we're not going to be doing this on motorcycles or anything stupid. However, if we could build a deck that works like that, then you could have it where, you can only activate these when a Speed World is on the field, and when you play that, it only affects you. So it's not like you're hindering your opponent or anything. So that way, you have access to these really powerful spell cards, because trust me, the speed spells were hilariously busted. Um, but they required a set number of speed counters. And if we were to even take a step further and go with Speed World 2, you would get certain effects for building up counters. Now, it's not like this would be terribly game-breaking or anything, because you'd have to play a huge risk. What if you don't get the Speed World? Well, then you're going to have to rely on regular spell cards, and in a Speed World deck, you probably wouldn't be running any of those. You'd probably just be running primarily, if not only, speed spells, along with your Speed World field spells. So it would be kind of a daring move, but one that I think would be kind of fun. I know I'd like to give it a shot. I think it'd be a lot of fun to try that out. Again, obviously we got to keep this, with our feet firmly planted on the ground. No dueling motorcycles. It's a terrible idea. It's very dangerous for real life. It's cool in the anime, though. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to our number 1 pick. I don't know what it was about Waking the Dragons, but they came up with some damn cool cards. I mean, you have the new Harpy support, the Orichalcos, which I already mentioned, and of course, our number 1 pick, the armor cards, used by Valen, the guy that faced off against Joey a bunch of times. Now, for those of you who don't know how the armor cards work, it's a series of cards that represent various pieces of armor, obviously. The essential piece is the Psychic Head Core, or whatever it's called. Psychic Armor Head, that's it. And along with various other support cards, you can bring out all the armor cards. In the anime, Valen wore them as like an actual suit of armor. But in reality, the way that they work is that if the Psychic Armor Head is destroyed, then all the other armor pieces are destroyed, and they each come with their own unique effects. They had some form of a drawback. I don't remember what that is off the top of my head. However, they still had this really unique formula to them, and they just... I don't know. I feel like it'd be really gimmicky. I don't know if it would work really well, but it would still be really cool to see them. I mean, the armor cards are just amazing. Heck, we're getting other cards from that duel. We get Lord of the Red, which was Joey's armor equivalent with, just wearing the red eyes. So why can't we have Valen's, badass armor cards? I feel like that'd be really cool. I mean, we have the Guardians. I don't think we have whatever the other guy used. We're getting everything else out of that. Why not armor? I feel like that would be the coolest thing that we could have, and it would be the armor cards. So, I don't know what more to say. Konami, watch this video, review this list, make these cards. You need to do this. This would be amazing. But that's all I got for you guys this week, or just today rather. I still got Thursday. But don't forget to comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with these cards? Did I miss a really cool archetype that should have been included? If so, let me know what it is and why it deserves to be made into a real archetype. Of course, don't forget to also like and subscribe. And until next time, peace.